Hey YouTube, Kimberzelik here. Welcome to my channel. And in the small mini lathe, or the 7x10 mini lathe, it is small as far as mini lathe goes, so it's not redundant to say that. I think Harbor Freight's the only one that sells the 7x10. Been pushing this thing sometimes to the max for over a year now, and I'm kind of curious about the bearings. And I think what I might start doing is just start kind of maybe monitoring the temperature of the spindle. And just an excuse to get in there and put in some proper bearings, I think. New project I want to come up when I work on is kind of a brain boggler. Is that a brain boggler? A brain teaser. A brain teaser. So basically, what you got is a threaded rod. The threads run from here to here, and there's a nut on the middle, but there's no clear means of starting that nut or taking it off. And we all know the trick, is you turn the threads on a piece of stock that is split. So you thread, you know all that. You go ahead and put it together, you cut your threads, you take it off, you put your nut on, you put this back on, and nobody knows the difference. So when you hand that to the person, they're like, So I'm going to take it a little step further maybe. This will be my trial piece, my aluminum piece. And that is quarter 20 in there. And I have a piece of, I don't know if it's bronze or copper. I think it's copper. And so I've already got some threads. That was my 3/8/16, I think. One of my successful thread cutting moments. So then I have this area here prepared to be threaded. And I thought I would add a little twist to it. So, you hand the thing to the person, and there's a nut on the threads, but what if the nut looked like this? That would be enough to make them think, what the heck? And if that doesn't work, it would make a nice miniature putter. So that's what we're going to work on. I've started making Woody's nuts again, and I have quite a few here. I'm not real happy with the consistency. I did order some new 2 new taps, 2 new drill bits, and a die. And I managed to thread this piece of copper the entire length, 256. So all these are actually threaded onto this rod. And I will probably use this portion of this rod to make the split in this piece and then reconnect it, because I am going to need a smaller diameter. Obviously quarter 20 is not going to work in this. So I'm going to work on my nuts, and I quit chamfering one side and left both sides flat, but there's a lot of sharp edges, and I'm thinking about maybe one of those cheap tumblers at Harbor Freight, and maybe tumble these things for, you know, whatever amount of time would be appropriate to soften all this. You know, this is, it's, you know, you could hurt yourself on that. The last batch I did, I had, automotive, sanding paper, finish paper, 1,000 grit, 1,500 grit, and basically was lapping the one side of these nuts. So, they were high. They were like, it was like jewelry. It was like shiny. So that's an ongoing project, is making Woody's nuts. The last time I attempted this, something was loose on my lathe or whatever, and I didn't think I was ever going to be able to make anything again. But I tightened up a few nuts and bolts, and the lathe's back to doing what I expect it to do, which is not that I expect that much, but it's earned its keep. It was a good purchase. It's not a real lathe, you might say, but it is what it is. It's 7 by 10, and I've learned a lot using this. I wish I had the jeweler's lathe I had before this, which had, I think, a 2-inch chuck, made in Austria, I think it was. You all know, I can't remember the name of it, but you all probably seen it before. The lathe is, if anything, I've learned some workarounds. How do you compensate for this backlash, or how do you compensate for lack of room, space. So maybe I've learned something in space management. I think I've turned 6-inch, maybe close to 6-inch stock on here on centers, and that was quite a feat. I've also turned quite the diameter. Diameter is so great I can't get it out of the drawer. But this is a pretty good diameter for a 7 by 10 mini lathe, and that is that goes into some expanding mandrel that goes into my spindle on the back of the lathe, and I can turn that by hand. And it also has a protractor, so I can kind of index. Kind of. Okay, one more thing, and there'll probably be 2 more things, but we'll leave that out for now. I just embarrass myself. Bought this book on recommendation, How to Run a Lathe for the Beginner, How to erect, care for, and operate a screw-cutting engine lathe, South Bend Lathe Works. Machine work done here. This goes all the way back to operating a lathe on a line shaft, with the belts and pulleys, but the one who recommended this says, regardless of your experience, says this is a good thing to read, a good thing to have. You can learn something, and that's why they print books. Okay, I'll bring you along on this brain teaser thing, and we might make some nuts for Woody. Enjoy the video. Okay, now it's time to address the change gears. You'll get a stack of gears with your mini lathe. The stop gears are 2080, 2080. I hope that one day I'll feel the same way about the headstock that I used to feel about the change gears. And what I mean by that is I used to be petrified, terrified to open this up and start moving gears around. I've done away with the screws and just applied magnets inside here to hold this cover on. There's 4 gears in question here, A, B, C, and D. So A, the default setup is a 20, 80, 20, 80. Now what I have here is 20, 65, 20, 80. The original 80 here, I stripped out the hub. So until I can replace that, I'll be running at some kind of weird speed. So you're going to need a couple wrenches, a couple Allen wrenches, couple open-end spanners, 6mm and 4mm Allen wrenches, and a 10 and a 14 open-end wrench. You can use the open-end wrenches that came with the mini lathe. I just have no idea where mine are at. Let me move this out of the way. So first we'll go ahead and loosen up these screws. Grab a hold of the chuck for this one, and there's a screw and a washer. You want to be sure you keep track of everything that comes off of here. And there's some keys involved, and I'm going to pay careful attention to that. I'm going to go ahead and rotate A, where the key is at the 12 o'clock position, so I'm not likely to lose that. So, go ahead and pull that off. The key came out with the gear, so I'm going to grab that key and stick it back on the shaft. I'm going to loosen up the 10mm nut back here on what's called the banjo. And that is the metal plate behind these 3 gears. There's 2 nuts on there, and those allow you to adjust the gears, to mesh the gears. And it doesn't take much, just allows you to travel this gear like this. So with that said, we'll go ahead and I guess we didn't take that. Thought we loosened up that nut screw. That one takes the 4. The other ones are 6mm screws. So we'll go ahead and pull off the 20 here. Keep track of the key. Key is up here at about 11:30. So we'll let that stay. Those 2 are metal gears. So we're going to go ahead and leave the 65 in place. That's A, B, that would be C. I'm sorry, that's A, B, and the small one is C. So B is 65, so we'll let that one stay there. So we'll pull this 80 off of here. And there's no key on the 80, if I recall. I don't know why that would be, and of course I'm wrong. Okay, so now we have the need for a paper towel here. So now we have all our gears removed. Now, this would have been an 80 in the stock position, but since I only have one 80, I'm using a 65. And A, B, C, D. For 13 threads per inch, we need a 40, 65, 60, and 30. So I have those gears already ready to go here in a fashion. So what's first? 40. I'm going to go ahead and loosen up this larger nut on the banjo. And just don't take it off, just break it. So the gears are marked with the number of teeth. You probably can't see that, but let's go ahead and get 40 up there. I always like to keep the identifier on the gear facing out so that I can easily double check that I have the right gear in the right position. So there's the 40. The 65 is already in place. And then we go do the 60. A, B, 60 is C. That key is at 1 o'clock. Or thereabouts. Okay. I just want to kind of wiggle that till it's in position. This probably isn't advisable, but probably do just as well as to tighten it up with a screw. So then D is 430, I recall. Okay, so 30 is here. And there's 30. Now we want to get all these gears touching each other. So I'm going to start with this adjustment, the smaller nut. And then get my finger down here pushing up on the larger nut. Okay. So it's just kind of a feel thing, and I'm gonna just tighten it up with fingers just a little bit, and then I'll show you how to set the several ways, two ways to approach this. Okay, my fat fingers are going to be in the way for a second. Like I said in the very beginning, this was really scary, but okay. Now just have that snug enough to where they're going to hold in place here. And I'm going to take a piece of paper. I guess the paper is usually about 3/1000 of an inch. And go ahead and okay. Now I'm going to loosen these up again. I'm going to leave the wrench on it. Okay, I'm not getting any, I'm good here. I'm not really moving the paper here. So I need to get this axle here coming this way. After you do this a couple of times, you definitely get more comfortable. Okay, I lost my paper. Okay, I'm grabbing this gear and pulling it up at like 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock-ish. And at the same time, I'm lifting the whole banjo gear. I don't seem to have the coordination. Okay, so you can hold them all in place. With one finger. Okay, we should be about there. Okay, let's go ahead and grab the headstock and turn this, and yeah, I'm turning the paper. So that's given me, you, the proper gear mesh. I'm going to just bump the motor, turn the power back off. And we're going to go back on with our screws. Our 4mm is here at the BC position. And then the 6mm is A and D. So now the gears are set for 13 threads per inch. My intention is to thread half 13. Okay, now we'll give it another little bump here, maybe a long bump. Make sure nothing is in the way. Sounds good. Then back on with the cover. Like I said, mine are held on with magnets. Then we are now set for threading 13 teeth per inch. And the chart is here. It's also inside the manual for the gear configurations. Now this configuration called for 4 gears. So some of these 16 threads per inch only calls for 3 gears. And that means 3 gears. At first, the way I read it, I thought I'd substitute any gear where there was no gear on the chart. But I was since informed that if it asks for 3 gears, you're only using 3 gears. Okay, guys, let's do some threading. Okay, I think we're set up to do a scratch pass. Okay, I have my indicator down here. For my cross slide. It is mounted to a metal structure down here that's relatively stable. At least it won't be disturbed by the movement of the carriage. I've got my thread dial installed. I don't know if you can see the gap here, but there's a grub screw in the bottom of that hole, and apparently I don't have it in deep enough to screw on the thread gauge without using a couple of washers. So my foreman's DRO for the compound. Now I place no faith in that at all. Number one, it doesn't even look like this one, and it's just sitting there. I mean, if you just barely touch it, the top's going to come off. It needs to be glued and screwed, and you can see the giant gap here where it's not even engaged. You might as well try to snap it together. Okay, well, now I have a little different reading, but I have a reading, and it's millimeters. That's why it looked different. So there's my inches. It's 0.0L. So, brand new battery. Now I got to the 3rd decimal. If I hold it down. Okay. We'll come back to that. I have my threading tool. Camera falling off its mount. So I think what I'm going to do I'm going to go ahead and remove the cutter, and I'm going to go ahead and engage the half nut without the cutter. And we are doing 13 threads per inch, so we need to act on number 1. We need to start on number 1 and only number 1. So that's where it is right now. So I'm going to go ahead, turn this on, and I'm going to activate this at 1. Got nothing. Activate it again at 1. Nothing. Okay. Okay, I've activated the half nut with it not running. So, we will try what I believe is going to be a scratch pass. Okay, we'll turn it off. Now, I underestimated my travel on my dial, so that is not going to work. So I'm going to back it off, run it in reverse. Turn the power on, run it back in reverse. Well, apparently I wasn't recording any of that. So, I'll have to start over. I'm not as dejected now. I was very dejected, very bummed out that I failed on the threading thing. And it was time to put the normal gears back in, the 2065-2080 combination, and start turning some aluminum and make me feel like I'm doing something. I did make a brain teaser, and, you know, how did he get that thing on there, you know. Whether anybody sees that or not, I don't know. I do want to finish this one, but considering that that is copper and I can't even thread aluminum, who knows if that's going to happen or not. I'm distracted here. Steve Summers is mixing cement. Okay. Alright, guys. I've cleaned up a little bit since that debacle. And all I gotta say is like and subscribe, tell a buddy, bring a friend.